Welcome to This Explainer. If you spend literally any time at all on the internet these days, you are just constantly bombarded by the intoxicating promises of hustle culture. The dream is absolutely everywhere, right? Just quit your 9 to 5, set up some automated system, and watch the passive income roll in while you're sitting on a beach. It sounds incredible. But today, we're going to look at the stark contrast between those seductive myths sold by online gurus and the hard, data-driven reality of the actual digital economy. Okay, let's dive right into this, because this quote right here, this is the hook. You can make 5 to 6 figures if you follow our system. I mean, we've all seen variations of this bold claim in social media ads or sponsored search results. It's designed to be completely irresistible if you're an aspiring entrepreneur. But, as federal regulators are aggressively pointing out lately, these are often entirely false promises that predatory scammers use to just lure people in. And the cost of falling for that hook, well, it's devastating. $14 million. Just let that number sink in for a second. That is the bare minimum amount that everyday consumers recently lost to just one single business opportunity scheme called Click Profit. And the only reason it stopped was because the FTC, the Federal Trade Commission, stepped in to temporarily halt the operation and freeze their assets. Let's actually look at how a scheme like Click Profit operates, because it is a textbook example of this whole illusion. The founders promised consumers huge sums of passive income through e-commerce storefronts that were supposedly powered by cutting-edge AI. And to build trust, they even falsely claimed they had exclusive partnerships with massive brands, like Disney and Nike. But here is the grim reality. Amazon actually blocked, suspended, or completely terminated something like 95% of Click Profit's stores. Consumers were left with virtually zero sales, crushing credit card debt, and a massive pile of unsold inventory. Now, you might be wondering, if it's really this bad, why don't we hear more people complaining right away? Well, it's because these predatory schemes actively trap their victims using unlawful contract terms known as non-disparagement, or gag clauses. Imagine this. You pay a startup management fee of $45,000 or more. You realize you've been totally scammed, and then you're threatened with a massive lawsuit just for complaining to the Better Business Bureau. That is exactly how these operations silence their victims while they just keep. Section 1. FTC crackdown on scams. And this brilliantly illustrates why the landscape is finally shifting. The FTC is taking direct aim at scammers with a series of sweeping rule changes. First, they want to expand the existing business opportunity rule to cover business coaching and investment programs. But here's the real teeth of the proposal. They want to require written substantiation for any earnings claim and make that proof available to the consumer upon request in the exact language the claim was originally made. Add to that mandatory waiting periods before a recruit can even hand over their money and a total ban on those terrible gag clauses. It forces these operations to provide real proof of their data and stops them from rushing excited consumers into life-altering payments. It is worth noting the current political and regulatory landscape regarding these changes. The Commission advanced these specific rulemaking proposals in a 3-2 vote. This perfectly highlights that while the core mission of consumer protection is universally shared, the exact regulatory framework, and really just how heavily to regulate multi-level marketers and coaching platforms, remains a matter of pretty rigorous debate among policymakers. Section 2. Spotting the red flags. So the crucial point is that while the FTC debates the rules, you need a mental toolkit right now to protect yourself. It's all about knowing how to translate marketing speak into reality. If a coaching program promises guaranteed income, run. Literally, no one can guarantee business profits. If they boast about their students making 50% to 100% returns in year 1, realize those are almost always completely made-up, unverified numbers. And most importantly, if the business opportunity heavily focuses on you recruiting your friends and family rather than actually selling a real product, it isn't a legitimate multi-level marketing business. It is highly likely an illegal pyramid scheme. Which brings us to a really pivotal question. If the coaching programs selling instant wealth are mostly just smoke and mirrors, how does real online monetization actually work? Let's leave the scammers behind for a minute and step into the heavily regulated, data-driven reality of an actual, legitimate digital platform. Let's look at YouTube. The contrast here is just staggering. A scammer will look you right in the eye and guarantee you a 6-figure income in your first year. But if you look at YouTube's official partner policy, which is one of the largest wealth-generating platforms on Earth, by the way, they explicitly state in their legal agreement that there are absolutely zero guarantees that you will be paid or how much you'll make. Real businesses do not guarantee success. They offer you a transparent framework to try and earn it. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer level of transparency a legitimate platform provides. YouTube explicitly outlines your revenue share based on the specific modules you activate. If you use fan funding, like channel memberships or super chats, you keep 70% of the net revenue. For traditional watch page ads, it's a 55% split to the creator. And for the newer Shorts feed ads, creators get 45%. It is a precise mathematical contract, not some vague promise of infinite riches. And, unlike the scammer's chart that always magically goes up and to the right, real-world revenue fluctuates constantly. Legitimate platforms actively monitor and adjust your estimated monthly earnings. They deduct for invalid traffic to protect their advertisers, they'll withhold revenue if there's a copyright dispute through their content ID system, and payouts change all the time based on the fluctuating daily budgets of ad campaigns. Earning money online is a dynamic, highly monitored process. Honestly, even the act of just receiving your money is pretty unglamorous and heavily administrative. To actually get paid via AdSense, you have to hit local payment thresholds. You have to clear any holds on your account. Every single creator, regardless of where they live in the world, must submit official US tax information, because obviously the IRS always gets their cut. And you have to maintain strict, ongoing compliance with a massive rulebook of monetization policies. All of this just proves that building a real online business requires real, tedious paperwork. Section 3. Measuring the creator economy. Understanding the true scale of this legitimate digital workforce is actually incredibly difficult. Enter a recent research initiative known as Tube Census. Researchers face this huge problem where the official YouTube API doesn't provide access to the full set of creators, and its output can change over time. So, to study how algorithms actually shape mass media and creator incentives, researchers built a massive data set by collecting, linking, and organizing nearly 2 decades of YouTube page captures directly from the Internet Archive. Let's move to and see how this builds, because the scale of what these researchers achieved is truly impressive. By bypassing the official API and utilizing historical web archives, the Tube Census researchers were able to validate that they had successfully mapped between 30% to 36% of all content on YouTube. They created a transparent, replicable census of a third of the entire platform without needing any special insider access. That is an incredible tool for understanding how the real digital economy breeds and grows over time. So what does this all mean? What's our ultimate takeaway? Well, the illusion of effortless passive income is a carefully constructed trap. It's designed to separate you from your money using gag clauses and totally false guarantees. But the reality of the digital economy? It's one of strict compliance, rigorous tax paperwork, transparent revenue sharing, and relentless hard work. As researchers continue to map this massive ecosystem, we have to ask ourselves, with real online earnings requiring such discipline and data transparency, how will these ever-evolving algorithms shape the next generation of legitimate digital entrepreneurs? It's a fascinating landscape, provided you know exactly what you're looking for. Thank you for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.